Hello, SIOP, and welcome to our next Better Together video. I am thrilled because I get to speak to Alex Alonso. And Alex does so much for our profession and so much for SIOP. Today, he's going to really get into his role as chair of GREAT, which is really tied to our SIOP's advocacy efforts. So welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Stephen. And it's great to be here with all you SIOPers. It's a real pleasure.
And by the way, Alex, can you see on the tip of my shoulder, there's a little tiny pug sitting on the couch.
I love pugs. That is awesome. I wish I had my schnauzers here, but I'm in the office, so it's hard to do.
All right, Alex. So let's start with, we have a lot of acronyms in SIOP. So let's start with defining what is GREAT.
GREAT stands for the Government Relations and Advocacy External Affairs Team or Task Force.
Excellent. And so why is advocacy so important for SIOP and its members?
So it's interesting because for years I've wondered what is it that advocacy did until I actually got involved in advocacy. And for the most part, advocacy plays an important role in doing three things for SIOP and its members. The first is it elevates the brand of workplace science and it helps people know what IO psychology really is. The second thing is it helps us identify where funding potential and opportunities might exist for IO sciences, like what we see over and over again. And then the third thing is it really helps us understand what is shaping or changing in terms of the practice of IO psychology. And so if we see things that are coming down the line and they may impact the practices for a variety of different practitioners.
That's great. Okay, so I know we've partnered with Lewis-Burke on advocacy. Why do we do that? Say a little bit about that.
So we work with a firm that helps us kind of keep track of what's going on in Washington. But then in more important cases, the other thing that they do is help us engage specific groups, whether it's actual executive branch agencies or members of Congress, in helping further the understanding around workplace sciences. Lewis-Burke happens to be an industry leader in this case, especially as it relates for professional societies like SIOP. Some other examples of groups that they work with are people like HFES, our Human Factors Brethren, and people in the consulting psychology space. So they're a group that is well known in terms of supporting societies like ours in helping make our voices heard on the Hill.
I love that. Okay, so we've been doing this for a while. I know you've been super busy and your team has been super busy. What are some of the biggest wins that we've had on the advocacy front?
So on the practice side, one of the things that we really had some big wins are in terms of supporting policing reform. We put together an ad hoc policing task force to help us identify what is best practice when thinking about selecting and hiring police officers or peace officers. And that group was able to submit a policy paper that was then used by the Department of Justice to help further understanding around what is best practice. The other examples that exist over the course of time are things like putting together informational briefings for members of Congress and their staff. Most recently, we had one that was hosted by Stephen himself with a couple different senators to really help further the understanding around IO psychology and what it is that we do in the workplace, especially as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we've had some big wins and some momentum over the years in terms of what it is that we're doing to support furthering the understanding around IO psychology.
Yeah, those are great. And I'll tell you, I have to say, it was a little bit of a thrill when the senator referred to SIOP by name and appeared to know what IO psychology was about. That's just such a great thing for our community.
Yeah, when Senator Peters really referenced what IO psychology was and really highlighted in particular how it had impacted his workplace itself, that was something that was unbelievable. To hear a US Senator really describe IO psychology and know what it meant was something really powerful.
It's very cool. All right, so looking forward, what are some advocacy efforts in the works that you're excited about?
So we have a couple things in the works, and I think that there are a couple that really sort of stand out to me. One is we know the EEOC is changing and thinking about how they go about evaluating artificial intelligence, machine learning, and we have a group that's working towards really thinking about this. And I'm excited about this in particular because we have key practitioners who are really lending their expertise to this, as well as people like Richard Landers, who's also lending expertise to this through his SIOP Futures Task Force. In addition, we're also really highlighting a couple different examples that are coming down the pike, an applicant bill of rights and how it is that IO practitioners and IO scientists can provide information in terms of what makes a good applicant bill of rights. The other thing that we're thinking about is particularly we're thinking about how it is that IO psychologists can inform the use of assessments in the federal workplace. And so, for instance, we know we're working with the Department of Interior now to provide information and education around what it is that is the proper use of assessments at the federal level when identifying and assessing candidates for federal jobs. There's a whole host of opportunities that are really sticking out there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it's just so exciting these conversations with SIOP inserted, right? The fact that SIOP is talking to key policy makers and that we're trying to elevate our discipline and our science. It's really gratifying.
It is gratifying. And, it makes me think of what we're seeing in terms of maturity of professions and the importance of those professions. And, it's no secret I work at SHRM and I've been involved in policy and advocacy at SHRM for almost 10 years now. And I'm sort of seeing that maturation happen with SIOP as well, which really speaks to you've got a profession that is valuable and has a real impact on life. Yeah,
I love it. All right, final question. How can someone get involved in advocacy if they like?
So you can go to the SIOP webpage and find out about advocacy. The other option is you can email me at alexander.alonso@shrm.org. I'd be more than happy to field any questions, and we're always looking for volunteers.
Oh my gosh, that is perfect. All right, Alex, this was so informative, so helpful. I'm really glad that you were able to join me today and share your wisdom. And again, big thanks for, I know you're a busy guy, and to provide this service to SIOP in our profession is a real gift. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. And I'm never too busy for you. I always love working with you.
All right. I appreciate it. Okay. Bye-bye. And until next time, SIOP, for our next Better Together video.